It's the 7th of September 2017. Here's Double Wicket Maiden, the cricket news bulletin show on Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio. I'm your presenter for today, Chukka Wilson. Here's what's been making news in the cricketing world. The one-day international series between India and Sri Lanka has finished with a 5-0 victory to India. These were all fairly comfortable victories, with there being no point where India were being genuinely pushed or challenged, or Sri Lanka might have thought that they could win. In the third game at Kandy, Sri Lanka won the toss and elected to bat, reaching a paltry 217, with the only batsman able to make a half-century being Tiramani, who made a handsome 80. They were going reasonably well earlier on in the innings, at one point being 2 for 100 thanks to a partnership between Tiramani and Chandimal. But once that partnership was broken, there was no one in the Sri Lankan middle order that could pick up the pace. The shining star of the Indian bowling attack was Bumrah, who took 5 for 27 from his 10 overs. India had some problems early on with their reply, falling to 61 for 4, but Rohit Sharma and MS Dhoni came together to make a 150-run partnership, achieving victory for India without the loss of another wicket. Sharma ended up on an unbeaten 124, while Dhoni made an unbeaten 67. The only Sri Lankan bowler to hold off the Indian batting was Dhananjaya, who took 2 for 38 from his 10 overs. India winning the game by 6 wickets and going 3-0 up in the 5-game series. In the fourth game at Colombo, India won the toss and batted first. They made 375 for 5 from their allotted overs, with centuries to Sharma and Kohli, who were able to put on a 200-run partnership together, plus late-order hitting by Pandey and Dhoni. All of the Sri Lankan bowlers were hit around pretty badly, with only Angelo Matthews able to hold his head up with his 2 for 24 from 6 overs. The Sri Lankan response was very miserable, failing to build up any large partnerships or put the Indian bowlers under any kind of pressure. They lost wickets consistently, eventually getting bowled out for just 207. The only half-century was scored by Matthews. The Indian bowlers shared around the wickets, with 2 wickets to Bumrah, Kuldeep Yadav and Pandya. At this point, it should be pointed out that it's not all bad news for the future of Sri Lankan cricket. They do possess a strong vanguard of talented, experienced, leadership role players, such as Chandimal, Matthews, Kapakadera, Tiramani, Malinga, Taranga. But due to injury and form problems, it's very difficult to have all of them on the field at the same time. And when they do come together, it seems that they aren't working from the same page, and it's very difficult for them to fully cooperate in order to produce quality work. In the 5th and final game of the series, at Colombo, 4-0 down, Sri Lanka won the toss and batted first. They were able to make 238 all out in the 50th over, with good performances to Taranga, Tiramani and Matthews. There was a good 100-run partnership between Tiramani and Matthews, with the lower order unable to capitalise on the reasonably good position they were in. Among the Indian bowlers, the most economical was the inexperienced leg spinner Chalal, who conceded just 36 runs from his 10 overs. But the wickets were taken by Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, who took 5 for 42. The Indians were able to chase down the runs with 6 wickets in hand. Kohli was the star with an unbeaten 110. He had participated in 2 significant partnerships along the way, the first with Pandey and the second with Jadhav. No Sri Lankan bowlers were able to take more than 1 wicket or keep their run rates to below 4 wickets per over. In the final game of the tour, India and Sri Lanka played off in a single T20 match at Colombo. India won the toss and sent Sri Lanka in to bat first. Sri Lanka made 170 for 7, with good scores to Munawira and debutant Priyanjan, with the score boosted thanks to some late order hitting. Munawira was particularly impressive, scoring 53 from 29 balls, which included 5 boundaries and 4 sixes. Among the Indian bowlers, Chalal took 3 for 43 and Yadav took 2 for 20. In response, India chased down the runs in the final over of the match. Kohli and Pandey both scored half-centuries, with those two coming together for a near 120-run partnership. Kohli led the way with a commanding 82 from 54 balls, getting out just before the winning runs were scored. So in summary, India have whitewashed this tour of Sri Lanka, winning all 9 games. At no point did it seriously look as if Sri Lanka were going to ever win any of them, or even compete pound for pound with their opponents. India were always 5 steps ahead of Sri Lanka, oftentimes more than that. The next challenge for India is the 5-game One-Day International Series and 3-game T20 series that they are hosting against Australia, with the first game of that to be played on September 17. And that's the news for this episode. This has been Double Wicket Maiden, the Cricket News Bulletin Show, for the 7th of September 2017. I'm Chukka Wilson, and you're listening to Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio. Until the next Cricket News Bulletin, remember to cock your wrists, play with soft hands, and don't let your centre of gravity go off balance.